None?
No conflicts on there?
Aye.
Okay. Okay. We have one or two agenda changes. Dave, wanted to be,
Absolutely, you can leave it where you have it on the list. If you'd
that's fine,
like. Yeah.
okay, good. One other conflict was, John, who is going with Deputy Crichton to a complaint after, so we're gonna push him up on the schedule just a little bit. We'll let him follow Deputy Crichton when he gets there. So other than that one slight adjustment to the, agenda, I'll make a motion that we approve agenda as amended.
Sorry.
All those in favor?
All right.
All right. And that would bring us to public comment. 3 minutes. Anybody has anything they'd like to say? Yes, sir.
I'm back to address the issues and the character assassinations by Jeff West and Joanne Childs. First off, you have to kind of have character to go after someone else's. And I find that between being a disgruntled ex-township employee, we'll leave this article with you, a drug trafficker, and I made so many complaints against Joanne over the years for the harassment, the following me around, and they were to the board, they were to board members. There's not a question at all that anybody that listens has to know there's a motivation here. I report all the drug dealing I see out by the cemetery and Gillett Road. A lot of that happens to be Jeff's relatives. I report the crimes I see. I report the stuff I see. A lot of that happens to be Jeff's relatives. That's my time to speak. And so he has an axe to grind. I also want to read the statement here. One with Christine first.
You have a copy from me, sir?
No, I don't. And I don't have nothing for you. Okay, after 3.5 years of doing my job to the best of my ability, I've concluded that Joanne Childs and Jeff West will never stop publicly attacking me with unfounded accusations and outright lies, such as attacks during various recent meetings. At those times, the board did not ask the basic question, do you have proof? And if so, where is it? Why don't we have it? We all know that if Jeff had something, he'd bring it to you. You'd had it. He'd been sneaky about it, but he'd have brought it. The board didn't put an end or even help me put an end to this long, defamatory comments and conversation against me. Joanne has recently asked residents to watch me at work. She also seems to have somebody in mind that she would like to have my positions. These things have created a hostile working environment affecting my physical, mental health, and peace. As much as I enjoy making the community a better place to live and visit through my work, the interactions with the public, and my wish to finish out my working life before I retire here in Clearwater Township, that dream is over. Due to the stalking and harassment from Joanne and her people, her wish to replace me, the lack of backing or evident value as an employee from the board, I am notifying the board tonight that my last day as an employee of Clearwater Township is April 30th, 2025. And I appreciate your indulgence and all that.
Craig, please don't leave that.
Greg,
We don't want you to
7 a.m.
resign. We need you, Craig. What are you laughing about?
Can I?
It's
Okay,
not
let's
funny.
call, let's shut it down. Not gonna go back and forth. Okay. Is there any other public comment? Carol?
Hey, in February, I believe it was, the minutes in the February minutes stated that I was gonna be reimbursed $50. But evidently the board turned that down for a television that we loaned the township for the Heritage Park Garage. It was stolen during the break-in. I sent you a letter requesting reimbursement for the one that the new one to replace it. I haven't heard a word since then, and I have the receipts. If you need them again, I will send you a
We
copy.
have the receipts.
Then I
okay?
think I should be reimbursed for the TV. Furthermore, I have something else. Last year, I made complaints about several residences on Valley Road, and nothing has been done. Not a damn thing has been cleaned up on Valley Road. And I'm really sick and tired of that. It's a mess. You know, maybe most of you people don't have to look at it, but every time I drive home, I have to look at it, and so does everybody else.
You're talking about Jerry's house over here?
I'm talking about a lot of houses on Valley Road.
The family dreams house.
And furthermore,
Yep.
you know, you can't reimburse me $140 for the replacement of the TV. Yet my husband donated a garage door for $300 that would have cost the township $300 freaking dollars for the township garage here. I'm sorry, I think that's really pretty petty.
Well, I would also just want to add to what you've said here, okay? That house on Valley Road is nothing new, okay?
Oh, it's not just one.
Okay. I agree with you. There's many houses out in the township, okay? A lot of them are there and have been there for quite some time. We just went through 4 years of an administration with your husband there, and those
Trying
weren't
to get
addressed.
something done, and still nothing has been done.
Trying. Okay. Another thing, and this is, you know, I didn't make the decision by myself to not reimburse you. That was a board decision. Okay, if you.
Well, I'm asking the board to please be reimbursed for the TV, to replace the one that was stolen out of the Heritage. You know, it's not my problem, and it's not my fault that the insurance company refused to pay you for everything that was stolen. Not my problem. I had nothing to do with it. All we did, and we loaned the township that TV because there were problems there to begin with, and the maintenance supervisor at the time wanted something to see what was going on. The TV was taken along with everything else, and I think it's fair that I be reimbursed.
It's a 15-year-old TV, okay? I'm just pointing out some facts.
The point is, it cost me $140 to replace it. It worked just fine, and it served its purpose.
Okay,
So does it matter how old it was? It worked,
no,
and it cost me $140 to replace it.
okay. We took it up as a board. We looked at the receipts. We saw on the paperwork where one of you said that it was donated to the township and one of you said it was loaned to
It
the
was
township.
loaned to the township.
Okay, initially, Tom wrote on there that he wanted to be, or it was $700.
That's what we paid around I don't know.
It was $389 on the receipt.
Yeah.
It was $389 is what I saw.
Yeah.
It was the original cost in
Yep.
2009, I think it was.
It doesn't matter. The television worked. And
Okay,
it served its purpose. It served its purpose, and it cost me $140 to replace it. I should be reimbursed.
well, the board thought otherwise, is all I can tell you.
Well, the board sucks,
Well,
and I would like it to be brought up again. It's the truth. I'm sorry. You can't freaking reimburse me for something that we donated because there were problems at that garage. You know, that's really a pretty sad situation.
is there any other public comment? Yes, ma'am.
There are quite a few new board members, so I would like to introduce myself. I'm Anja Stork, and I have been a resident of Clearwater Township for over 20 years. My husband's family has summered on Torch Lake since 1975. So while we may have started as Dutchies, we are now deeply rooted in the community. Our children attended Rapid City Elementary. I served as PTA president, and we have been involved in local organizations like the Old Men's Club, and we have participated in many township meetings over the years. I'm here tonight to speak in support of the short-term rentals, which have long been a vital part of life around Torch Lake. Like many others, we have hosted short-term rental guests for over a decade without a single complaint. Our renters are respectful and they support local shops, restaurants, and services, helping to sustain the community we all love. When Ordinance 22 was changed in 2016, it became very clear why past supervisors told residents they were renting legally. The township clearly intended to allow short-term rentals at that time. They simply weren't aware of the implications of Michigan's permissive zoning law. But the intent was there, to make the short-term rentals legal, and that should matter. I have a couple of printouts here with minutes from those meetings for you, and I highlighted the important sections, so I will pass them out after I'm done. The planning commission has also recognized that summer rentals have been happening here for decades, even before zoning ordinances existed. And as former planning commission secretary Tina Fields pointed out, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 3 of the Constitution prohibits ex post facto laws. That means new ordinances can retroactively penalize legal activity. That protection matters and should be honored. I have submitted freedom of information requests over the past 2 years, and the data is very clear. The vast majority of complaints received by the township were related to owner-occupied properties, not short-term rentals. This suggests that enforcement of our existing ordinances, rather than new restrictions, is the better path forward when addressing neighborhood concerns. Furthermore, ordinances that address issues like noise, trash, and septic systems should be followed by everyone, not just short-term rentals. These are concerns that apply to all property owners, and it's crucial that we enforce them fairly across the board, regardless of whether someone is renting out their home or not. Many residents rely on short-term rentals to pay property taxes and maintain their homes. They are not the problem, and they shouldn't be singled out. Let's focus on enforcing the rules we already have fairly and equally, instead of creating new restrictions that target one group. Fortunately, we only have 2 copies, so maybe you guys can share. Maybe you can share. Thank you.
Nice. Okay, any other public comment? Yes, sir, John.
John West is zoning administrator, but public comment, just for the people that know, specifically what's going on Valley. The Field of Dream House. I have contacted the owner and I'm giving him the same courtesy as anybody else I've given in this township. He lives in Illinois, it's a family house, mom died. After the winter, I didn't expect him to go and bulldoze. That's his intent, he wants to tear that down. Another residence or complaint that she had is on the corner of Wilhelm and Valley. Was a camper back in there. It's no longer there because I spoke to the people and they moved it. Jerry Green, I'm sorry, not Jerry Green, Jerry the Junkman, as we all know, on Valley, veteran. He does creep his wares out there by the road. But every once in a while I'll go back, Jerry, you've got to push him back, and he does it. So, I mean, it's a hard time, attacking a veteran, especially when he does a little bit here. So I just wanted to address that issue since it was brought up. Thank you.
So Jerry's got his veteran's vendor's license.
Yes, I mean, yeah, he's got a veteran's license. So if he starts to go,
There's a lot of junk there. But what he's.
junk is, what's when one man's.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I have looked into that veteran's license and he is not in compliance with most of it. Okay, there has to be labels on every single one of those items out there and a price. It has to be labeled that it is for his profit.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of things that he's not doing, I understand he's trying to, trying to, sell the stuff. That's how he makes his living apparently. That's,
We also, if I may, as public comment, you also gotta remember that when something is still usable, for example, your washer and dryer set, you wanna update, one's broken, it's pretty convenient to call Jerry and say, come get these, because what does he do with them? Does anybody really know? I don't.
he recycles.
He either resells the one that still works to somebody that he has, or the other one goes up to a crusher. And usually it's Swain's Crushers or the recycle center. So he's actually providing a service to a certain degree. I agree with you, Jim, I carry the same veteran's license. And he is not in compliance with certain things. Well, that's easy, bring him up to par, and I'm sure he's willing to do that. But he does provide a service for our community. because it's awful tough to get rid of stuff today when it has so little value, but he'll come right to your door and get it. And when I think,
No public comment.
on the maintenance man, I'd like a copy of that, if at all, before I leave tonight if possible.
I'm sad to see him go. I know that's probably not everybody's opinion, but, you know, I feel he was trustworthy. He did things when I asked him to do it, you know.
Oh, he actually resigned, is what he did?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
That's, it says April 30th was his last day, so.
That's what.
But I'm gonna talk with him staying.
Pardon me?
I'm gonna talk with him staying.
There you go.
Okay, if there's no other public comment, we'll move on to approving the minutes. Everybody have a copy of the March 20 minutes? Any corrections, additions, subtractions?
I'm sorry, River Deputy.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Deputy was next.
I just go with the flow.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, we're sorry about that. Yeah, you can go ahead.
The month of March, rather busy, out of 68 total complaints, the sheriff's department investigated. Bear with me on hold activities, I've packed in quite a bit here. On or about the 29th, sheriff's office deputies and myself responded to an address at Kellogg Road for felony warrant attempt. We later made contact with the subject, who was found hiding in a closet after making entry into the residence, and the subject was lodged at Elkhart Jail. On that same night, myself and another deputy responded to an address in Rapid City where we made contact with the subject, but weren't their arrest, and they were also lodged at the jail. On or about the 30th, sheriff's deputies responded to another address in Rapid City. We made contact with the male subject for his warrants, and during that investigation, drugs and drug paraphernalia, suspected drugs and suspected drug paraphernalia were located and seized with a search warrant. That investigation is still ongoing. On or about the 1st of March, while on patrol in Rapid City shortly after midnight, I had received a dispatch call reference CPR in progress. I was less than 60 seconds away from the scene and responded, and the family showed a lot of gratitude for the first responders and a quick response time. And then, I think it was March, I had John Westfield ride along with me, and in my opinion, I think that ride along went very well. I was glad to see someone from the township could see like what occurs inside the patrol car while on patrol in the township, so I was actually pretty thankful for that.
And I thank you too, Jeff. It was eye-opening for me as well, and I answered a lot of questions that people brought.
Good, awesome. And then lastly, I had heard of some complaints about drag racing on Valley Road, just east of Rapid City in the late nighttime hours. Now we directed some more patrol efforts in that area of the township. And then one other thing, about motorcycles that go to Rapid City. Last weekend, my partner and I stopped 2 male subjects on motorcycles here in Rapid City. They were not the ones, I guess, like drag racing through town that I had seen. But they were educated rather harshly. Like they're driving dangerous, so to speak, so.
We got wheelies going all the way through town sometimes. I see them. Crazy. So, are you finished?
Yeah,
I have a question for you and then I'll open it up for them, but
okay.
we're approaching the deadline with the contract for additional services. And I'm just wondering, what kind of changes are gonna take place when that happens? I believe it runs out in April, doesn't it?
So if the township doesn't go back with the contract,
Yes.
I would ask to reach out to Sheriff Whiteford as to what potential changes we might see.
Most people know we pay additional, like close to 21,000 or something like that for additional 10 hours of road patrol per week. Or excuse me, per month.
No, 10 hours per week.
10 hours per week, that's right, okay. That wouldn't make much sense to get 2.5 hours in. 10 hours per week, you know, our budget is pretty tight right now. We have gone periods without that additional sheriff's patrol. Maybe it's something we'll discuss here, you know, very soon. But just wanted to make everybody aware that that current contract is expiring. Anybody have any questions for the deputy?
Yeah, I have one. Did we rent the jet skis last year? Did you guys use those?
No, I remember one year we had jet skis, I just don't remember if that was last year or not. I think the sheriff sent out an email to the township about that.
Yep.
So I'm unsure what's going on.
It's on the agenda,
Okay.
his request.
I know we do get use out of the jet skis, it's very helpful, it's a very helpful tool to control stuff.
Isn't the water out of your jurisdiction though? I mean,
I think a majority of the sandbar is still located within Calcasieu. I know we have our marine patrol unit that's out there as well. Kind of patrols the sandbar area, then the rest of the lake is all Antrim County. Yes, sir.
I think that could be cleared up if you could get a copy of the jurisdiction, how you got it. We've been told in the past, yes, you have it. Then we've been told it's a verbal agreement between Antrim County and you. Well, why would it be a verbal agreement between Antrim? By what little I know, this is a geographical township. It changed the shape of that corner. We don't have jurisdiction on the water. So you had to get it from who has jurisdiction on the water. That'd be the Michigan State Police or DNR navigable water. So if you could bring us a copy of that, then that would, no question, clear it up that we have jurisdiction. Because if we don't have jurisdiction on the water, obviously we shouldn't be doing something that we don't have the lawful right to do.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I guess on my end of that, I get half the equalization of Calcasieu County. That sandbar is included in the northwest corner of the county. Is the county sheriff's deputy,
Our plat book,
that's just been my understanding, but I can try to get that.
it's called political township or geographical township. It's not included. You're incorrect.
Oh,
I would disagree as well, speaking.
Sure. Well, you can ask, again, this come from the county, and the line is clear along it's the same as the riparian rights, because that whole dispute has been settled at the county, and the riparian rights don't exist.
yeah, I can ask, Sheriff Whiteford, and I can also touch base their county prosecutors.
You could also touch base with Stu McKinnon that did that research and took it to the county level, and they dug lawyers, the whole deal, and they ultimately said, no, Clearwater Township, because we changed, we're not squared off. If you look at the plat book on Clearwater Township, it's got this unique curve. Why did they
The
do
river.
that? In fact, Antrim County is the other side of Torch River.
Yeah.
That was Clearwater's. We chose to change the boundaries to give that up due to the river, and I understand that. But I just wouldn't want to be buying into a liability if we didn't have a contract through Antrim County, if they're the jurisdiction or the state. It's not appropriate.
Okay.
That's understandable, I don't get that.
All right, if there are no other questions for the deputy, we can move on. You're heading with him, right?
Yeah, so you have my written report, just for the public's information as well, why I have to speak with the deputy tonight. One of our cellular trail cams was stolen. So if anybody comes across a cell cam, it's green tech cam brand, is probably ours.
But we did get some pictures of potential people who are looking at the camera, you know, right, before it quit working, so we might be okay on it.
Other than that, any questions?
Oh, that's right, I'm moving the zoning administrator up, and that was our one amendment.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I do have your report.
Good, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Chief Brian. All right, we'll approve these minutes then. Looking for a motion to approve March 20 meeting minutes.
I motion to approve.
I've already read these, but I'll go ahead and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Not sure if we have the March 17th, March 31st meeting. That's our budget meeting. Pretty cut and dry. I'll make a motion, we approve the March 31st minutes.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Brings us to the treasurer's report.
Everybody has a copy of the report, it's, with the bank. My clerk, my deputy and the clerk, they work together on reconciliation. So I balance with the bank. And other than that, I just said a couple of things on here whenever you're ready to go over them.
Sure.
Nothing about what serves their constituents, what serves the American people.
Say D. Oh, there it is, they got it. Okay,
Are we all set?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so, not to get ahead of what we're gonna be talking about later, but I did wanna make a motion, on our credit cards, to make sure that we're adopting a new policy, stating that the recurrent, charges that are charged to our credit card, are either ACH or approved by the board before they are, charged to the Visa card. So, I can pass that motion to you. You want to go over and take a look at it.
So we currently have a credit card policy, so is this something you would like to add to the current policy that
Yes,
we have?
in mainly recurring charges, so that we no longer have recurring charges. I know I'm getting ahead of myself because, later on, we're gonna talk about, the meeting that we had with the state.
Yes,
So they had also suggested that we could go to ACH and not have those automatic deductions coming out of our Visa card. So that when we're approving our Visa card and our post audit policy, we know exactly what we're approving. So,
Jim?
so that's the motion. Did you have
This is-
any? Go ahead.
Jim, this is more related to the post audit policy rather than the credit card policy. If you're gonna attach it to something, it'd be more of a post audit situation than a credit card situation.
well, we do have a credit card policy.
Yep, but this isn't about that. This is about the charges being paid on a credit card, therefore not being post audited or audited by the board. You guys didn't know about these charges because they're not put in front of you. They're reoccurring charges on a credit card. So it'd be more of a post audit. So they either have to be on the post audit, or they have to be approved by the board, or they have to be like an ACH transaction. They can't just be
The
reoccurring.
state suggested ACH.
Yes. Yes, they did. So what are you saying? This is,
So we're,
not much of a change really from what we're doing. We're just removing ACH transactions,
no, we're moving recurring.
recurring.
Yes, so those are ones that are
To
automatically deducted from, the Visa card. Like,
Okay.
you know, whether it's monthly, quarterly, annually, remove those. The state suggested that we do ACH.
Yes.
And again, it might be getting ahead of ourselves, and we can talk about it when we get to the discussion, with the state of Michigan. But I just want to make sure that, that we're no longer having recurring charges automatically coming out of the Visa card, unless, again, it's either on our post audit policy or we know what's going on and the board approves it.
Okay. Some of you may not know our clerk is on Zoom here, and I'm just gonna ask her if she has any comments on this, so you
Absolutely.
think I'm just like,
Her input is very important.
yes. So Christine, did you have any input on this, or?
No, well, the only thing I was thinking is that I believe there was an issue with ACH transactions where we didn't want to use ACH. But also, if you look at your expense by vendor detail, you can see the Visa. It itemizes every single payment that goes out of there and what account it comes or what fund it came out of. So it's not like things are not transparent. It's right there.
Nobody is suggesting that it's not.
Yeah, no. Yeah, thank you. I think the only two automatic payments are the Google for the Gmail. That's the $84 a month. And then also the annual for the QuickBooks. Those are the only two automatic. Oh, and Intellius for the background checks.
Yes, and so it was the.
But
Google
also,
Sheets, and it was QuickBooks that flagged the township credit card as a fraud.
yeah,
So, and that's where the state said ACHs would be better than recurring charge. And you're correct.
Sure.
The one is gonna be going away, and then we're also going to be finding out what Google Suites is providing for us.
There is another one, the HP Instant Ink that
Yeah.
D is signed up for. That's an automatic payment on the credit card too.
And we
So
can-
that one will have to be changed as well.
Yep, perfect.
Okay, so the motion is moving that the township board formally adopt a policy stating the recurring charges on the township credit card are not acceptable unless they have been pre-approved by the board and are explicitly included in the township's post-audit policy. Makes good sense to me. I think that's what the state is recommending. I'll make the motion.
Now, second the motion.
You're still going to have an automatic payment though if you do ACH. That means that payment's going to come out of the bank,
Yes, and not out of the credit card.
but it'll come out automatically without approval.
No, we need to revisit the ACH part of it. Just
Yeah.
as of right now, the post audit part is important.
All right, well, we have a motion. And
I second.
it's been seconded. This is to adopt policy stating that recurring charges on the township credit card are not acceptable. Is that really, we want to do that?
Yeah.
I think that completely changes the policy because the policy is for subscriptions. The credit card use policy is for recurring payments.
I'm not sure how that's worded. Do you have that?
That is how it's worded. I looked at it today.
And the state suggested ACH and not automatic deductions from the credit card. I mean, if we want to discuss our experience, what happened, we can discuss that.
Right. If we as a board approve an ACH withdrawal, it's, just like,
It's like online banking, you're
Yes.
able to
Yes.
see what is happening. And nobody's being flagged for fraud.
Okay, so with this, if we decide to adopt this, it's gonna require some changes on our existing credit card policy because there's conflict there.
Yes, it is going to, but I think again, it might be getting
Okay.
the horse ahead because we're going to also discuss the
Yeah.
changes that the state recommended.
I'm gonna make a suggestion that we table this till maybe April 22nd meeting, which we have a special meeting scheduled for April 22nd, but maybe we can take this and the current policy and kind of merge them so that we have one policy rather than kind of two policies, and we'll include the ACH.
The ACH policy
Policy
and
into-
revisiting the post audit policy.
Jim?
Credit card policy, but yes, all of them need revisiting. It's like a never thing.
Jim?
Go ahead, Deanne.
What does it say on that with the post audit policy part on that sheet you have in front of you? What part was that?
Recurring charges must be itemized and included within the scope of the township's post-audit policy to ensure compliance and accountability.
Okay, so here's the thing. So if we had known about the charge that was prior to our visit to Grand Rapids, right? I mean, it was kind of out of the blue and then it wasn't verified in time. So we wouldn't have been in this position. But if it's on the post audit policy, if say we keep QuickBooks and she puts it on the post audit policy and we know it's an annual thing that comes out every April or whatever, then it's fine. That's what that motion says. So it's not eliminating reoccurring charges. It's saying we know about them. Here they are every month. They come out at this date. It's just making it more transparent.
Yes, and like I was stating earlier, maybe we can table this and join it with the existing policy rather than have two policies surrounding our credit card. Right now, we have policy for credit card policy is over there on Christine's desk, and we're modifying it here, and we don't even have it in front of us. So I think it's important for us to get them both together before we approve.
And then possibly, then we can also address the ACH policy.
Put them, yes.
And then we would also have to look at the post audit policy.
See, I'm not looking at this as a credit card policy. I'm looking at it as a post audit policy. It's a payment being made. It's even though it's on the credit card, I'm not looking at it as a credit card thing. I'm looking at it as a payment being made that the board was unaware of at the time. So we had issues. So that's I'm looking at it as a post audit thing, not a credit card thing.
Yeah, I had gotten notice that that payment was going to be coming out, but it's an annual subscription renewal. I didn't think that it was anything that needed to be notified, but also didn't expect it to cause a fraud thing either. But if you are going to table this, you do need to rescind the motion, and both the first and second need to rescind it.
At this point, I don't think that, at least I can't be, I'm gonna rescind my motion to approve this until we have more of the other policy.
Till April 22nd.
To April 22nd is good.
Okay.
And we'll merge it with our existing policy.
ACH and post audit, all three of
Yes,
them
yes,
together.
yes. Okay. All right, we have some more stuff over there for us.
I'm ready. Okay, so let me go back to,
Copy of QuickBooks is the next item.
yes, so again, QuickBooks, and again, might be getting the horse before the cart. But again, getting a copy of it, we talked to the attorney, as well as the state of Michigan, and as long as we're not messing with the original QuickBooks, but only a copy so that we can, be on the same page and looking at the ledgers and not making changes, but maybe suggestions to streamline, especially since we're going to BSNA and a new software. So that is one thing, and I know again, the state was looking into it. I was hoping to get a memo from the attorney, but I did not get a memo before the meeting. But I would again request not Christine's QuickBooks to make any changes, but a copy of the QuickBooks so that we're both like on the same page and we can make suggestions to one another what will, work best moving forward. So again, it's not, nobody's doing anything wrong or anything like that. The suggestion is not there. It's just that we're making changes and we're trying to, do things for the betterment of how we handle stuff, and even listening to suggestions from the state. I don't see the issue. I know that there's one other issue, and you guys were going to also talk to the attorney about that as well. And that's with the employee information being on the QuickBooks.
Correct.
So,
And he's gonna address that in the memo he's sending you.
yes, so again, we can either get a copy now, or we can get a copy on the 22nd, or if you want the memo from the attorney before we get a copy.
I did find in our policies that we do have a policy for protecting social security numbers. And I was going to bring that to the meeting. I left it on my desk, but that policy does state that only people who need that information have access to that information. And that, you know, we do the best that we can as a board to protect people's social security numbers. So really it says that information doesn't get shared. It doesn't get shared with FOIA. It doesn't get shared anywhere. And so that's the only issue, is that payroll and social security numbers and birth dates and addresses. That's all.
If that's the only issue, you can keep that part of the QuickBooks. You don't have to copy it. You can eliminate that portion of payroll to make a copy. You can go in and delete that. Once you make a copy over, you can delete the payroll portion and delete that stuff out of it and then send us the copy of QuickBooks. You don't need to include that.
I do not know how to do that.
I do.
If you know how to do that, we can work together.
Okay.
Okay, but myself, I would still kind of like to wait for the lawyer's memo.
Yeah,
So
you
the
should be-
22nd
you
is
should
only a
have
couple days away.
Yep.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
22nd is fine, and we should have the memo. It was just cutting it short today.
So we'll already have had the discussion on the 22nd, and we'll just know to look at the memo and see
Yeah.
what we're supposed to do.
So that we're totally prepared. So I just wanted to bring it up so that we're all transparent about it, and that's the intention.
Sure.
And then the only other thing is, so Alden State Bank, they're stating that their resolution, is over and above the township's resolution. It's kind of problematic, so, I'm kind of hoping, and if it's something you want to discuss on the 22nd or today, possibly looking at other banks in the area that do accept our resolution as written and adopted by the township.
Was there, I was under the impression that there was some other issues too, like, one person.
Yeah, if you go there, it's a long wait to try to get help. Deposit tickets are extremely costly. If you want deposit tickets from them, they're like $150. And the resolution is the biggest thing. They have to accept the township's adopted resolution. There should not supersede how we do business. They should not control how the township does business. You know, that it's not, you know, they have to accept that. If they're unwilling to accept that, then we have to look at other banks that will accept it. We switch some of our funds to Huntington, they accept our resolution, it supersedes what their bank resolution is. And I think that we should, you know, look at possibly the same if Alden State Bank is unwilling to accept our resolution over the banks.
Hey, Michelle.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to let you know that we're dangerously low on fire department checks. So if you're going to move it, I need to know as quickly as possible so I don't have to order more checks.
You know, there's several banks, you know, Forest, Forefront, do have a limit, but we could move money into Michigan also to also go now. So there's a lot of options that we should do something about unless all these things come to the table and discuss and respect.
Trustees.
Might be a good thing, like, taking policy or whatever. And
Yes,
directly ask them if they can do it.
yes. The idea to have somebody haven't touched it.
Michelle, can I interrupt a minute? Whoever is D on the video, they need to mute their thing because it's messing with the sound. We can't hear you guys.
Dee, did you catch that
Whoever the
Yes.
letter D is.
on Zoom? Dale?
You can unmute them, or you can mute them on the laptop.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, you muted Christine.
I muted nobody.
Christine muted herself. We're good.
Yeah. I think it's muted. It is.
So is everybody open to meeting with, and I'd be willing to even meet with Alden State Bank to find out, what's
How
the
we can
problem.
maybe fix, yeah.
And I will say it was their, credit card that flagged our recurrent charges as fraud.
I don't know what was said, but I spoke with 3 separate people and not one of them budged on our policy, our investment and depositories policy outweighing theirs. They declare that it's theirs take precedence. So I can't get anywhere.
Maybe we could together go down there to Alden and possibly interview the other 2 potential banks. How's that sound?
It sounds good, 23rd.
Well, after the
Open
11:30 thing, yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so the 23rd, Michelle and I are gonna investigate or go talk to at least Alden Bank. Maybe we'll have time to interview some of the other ones.
Sounds good.
Okay. Anything else there in your?
So we discussed this, and then the other I'll get to when we get down further.
To the state thing.
Oh, well, I'll probably have comments on that, but as far as, yeah, I'm good till we get down to.
Okay, we'll move ahead to the clerk's report.
Yeah,
Christine, if you have anything you'd like to share, we'd love to hear you.
You have your vendor expense report. There was one item on there that will need approval separately, and that is the Kalkaska Memorial Health Center. It is the millage subsidy for $1,602. So that'll need a separate motion.
I'll go ahead and make that motion.
which one is that?
It's on the second page, about 2/3 of the way down, Kalkaska Memorial Health. What this is it's like a 1/10 of 1 mil that the hospital authority board uses to like pay for and operate the monthly meetings that they have over at the hospital. It's the hospital authority board.
So it's on a
Budget.
seat at the
Yes,
table.
all the townships, it's 1/10 of 1 mil, so
And we're paying it annually?
yes. I'll go ahead and make that motion that we pay the 1602 to the Kalkaska Memorial Center. Is there a second? They call it a millage subsidy. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 1/100th. 1/100th of a mil.
That's a.
So that's $1 for every 100,000 that sound about right? Yeah.
And this is for the meetings that we have with them.
No,
Where
it's for their meetings.
it's for
Yeah,
their
we have a
meeting
board
where
member.
our member
Yes,
comes and
yes,
has,
yes,
you get,
Yes, all townships.
okay. So I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things out there.
Yes. All right, I'll go ahead and do a roll call vote. Michelle,
Yes.
Dave Cost,
Yeah.
Bob.
My question is,
Okay.
before I make a decision, they just went on profit, right?
That is correct, but there still is an existing hospital authority board. And it's not gonna go anywhere. They will cease to have if the hospital was ever to dissolve or whatever, that hospital authority board will still kind of be,
What does the authority do to benefit our?
it's just a representative from each township, one from the village of Kalkaska, and then there's about 4 appointed people. And they meet to discuss, that's the same group that met to revert to a 501(c)(3). It is the hospital board.
And so my question is, when they meet, are they also discussing the monies that we're trying to claw back? Are those at those meetings?
It's all part of the same thing, yes, that's
Okay,
the hospital
and so
board.
I think that's really important, because I know that we've talked about it before,
Mhm.
and it's the opportunity that the
They're fighting
village,
tooth
that
and
the
nail, too.
taxpayers have paid into, is getting that money back. And having representation at the table as well as an attorney. So the goal is, the end goal is to have a seat at the table, because we want to get the money back to the township taxpayers that they have paid in to the millage in the hospital.
Remind me who our representative on
Greg Bradley. Okay, so we have a motion on the table to pay the Kalkaska Memorial Health Center 1602. Motion by me, second by Michelle. Michelle and Dave are yes. Bob, how do you vote? No. All right, and Jim votes yes. So that motion passes.
Another thing on the report is election source, cost of $684.53. That is for the programming of the tabulators. We've never board approved election payments, but I mean, I don't know why we've never had to do that. It should be board approved. So that one I would also suggest we have a motion for. It's the bottom of the first page.
684.53 is the amount.
Yes.
And is that the money that's going to be reimbursed back to us possibly?
It will be reimbursed, yes.
All of these bills are being paid out of the general fund?
Yes.
It's always good. We should try to, when we make motions to pay for something, to select the account that it's going to be coming out of. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dee.
Okay. Michelle and Jim? Michelle, how do you vote?
Yes.
Well, we need a second, so I imagine Michelle's the second.
I thought that's what you meant when you said
No, I
we
think we
both.
both made a
Oh,
motion.
okay. I'll make the first motion if you'd like to make the second.
Second.
Okay. And I'll just go ahead and do a quick roll call. Michelle,
Yes.
Jim, yes. Dave?
Yes.
And Bob?
Yes.
Anything else on the expense report?
The final motion to approve the post audit.
I looked through the folder twice this month. I will make a motion to approve, pay the bills. Is there a second?
Is there a report that we're supposed to be looking for in here to know what those?
I don't see the post office.
Well, you have a list of everything that was
Okay,
paid here, and that folder sits over on that counter, if you wanna look at the full bill. So everything that's in that folder and the checks and everything are they're ready to go, just waiting for us to approve. I encourage everybody to go through and look through that folder. I said I did it twice this month, just last 2 days, so. I did have one question in there, but I think I already asked you about the Elk Rapids news, so I'm gonna say I'm good with what's on here. So waiting on a second. Seconded by Bob. I'll go ahead and do a quick roll call. Michelle,
yes.
Dave,
Yes.
and Bob. Jim, yes.
And my final thing would just be to update you on the election that is coming up May 6th. Everything is all set. We have our election inspectors already appointed. They all are certified. Their certification is on file at the clerk's office, and it'll be a small team. And we've gotten about 25 of the 50 or so absentee ballots that have been sent out back.
So there was one more thing on your clerk's report here that I put on the agenda. I'm curious to know if we've made the fire department fund transfer yet. And also there was a $5,200 admin fee that we were gonna. And I also want to point out for those of whoever may be here from the fire department and that the decent portion of their money, and we have made them more than that $5,200 in interest.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
Just,
In both of these, we passed as a board.
Yes,
We've
both.
already passed.
Those are-
both-
yes.
Both of those.
yes. So, are we gonna be able to do that, Christine?
Those checks are actually in Michelle's box waiting for her signature and for her to deposit them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, is that all you had, Christine?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, try to speed things up here just a little bit. We do have, written report from the fire department. For those of you that are not holding one, 23 incidents, 6 different types, medical assist, EMS crew 13, motor vehicle accident 1, that's with injuries, 2 without injuries. Assist police or other government agency, 1 instance, 1 public service, and 5 dispatched en route calls. And that will conclude the fire report. Planning Commission, Dan, anything you have to?
Did you have anything, Bob, that you brought into the report? I did.
I took a whole bunch of notes, Dan. I never moved my folder. And I don't know what they did with them.
On your agenda here tonight, it shows, for the planning commission, that, the cemetery ordinance is up for a vote. Didn't we do that last month? Wasn't that, Wasn't that done at the last meeting?
Well, we did discuss, D is overseeing that. And we
But
were-
the actual ordinance,
But the actual ordinance itself would have been adopted at the last meeting.
Is it on our minutes?
It's in. the
It was not voted on.
I think we should, because I don't think everybody has that cemetery ordinance here. Okay.
So the next item on your list here on tonight's agenda is the kayak rental at the Birch Street Lake Complex. And you should also have received from the planning commission secretary an amendment to that ordinance for approval. And along with that, an application for the commercial users or commercial and
Also emailed to everybody.
yeah, the first uses of the road ends for launching your non-motorized watercraft and your customer equipment.
Yes.
You should have that as well, so maybe you have to do them both at the same time, but that one is a little more urgent probably than the cemetery, so that it can be in place for the in May sometime for the upcoming season.
I don't think we should let it go past the 22nd. I have, of course, I was there when you guys came up with it, so, I'm in agreement with what's there.
I think it's a pretty workable ordinance.
I don't have it here with me at the moment, but, 22nd. We'll have to take it up on the 22nd.
And then last on yours was the short-term rental ordinance, kind of where the board stood with it. You have we have some new members on the planning commission and there was thought that maybe the opinion of the board here would give it a little direction. Personally, I wasn't real warm and fuzzy about that because I don't feel that a couple minute discussion among the board should be a driving factor in an ordinance of that importance, while the planning commission is going through it. But that was requested from some of the members, so that's what came up for tonight.
Yeah,
And it's a tough one. There's a lot of sides to it. And the end result is nobody's going to be totally happy with it.
I agree.
You can't do that. That's impossible to do that. So.
And I'm thankful for Anja sharing her representation of what's going on out there. I think there's
and that certainly is a side that needs to be listened to.
absolutely, absolutely, and there are many people out there operating short-term rentals in a very consistent and good way, and I would put you as an example of that.
There's a lot of good folks.
Yes, yes. But that's not to say that there aren't some
That's not the end.
issues.
That's not the end of the issue.
Yeah, and you know, we need to protect the water. I mean, that's important, you know, and there are people that don't necessarily care about that, so we have to do it for them, I guess, because nobody else is gonna do it.
I mean, there's a number of issues that we're going through right now, and I think we're making some decent progress with it. Bob was there the other night and went through the whole thing, we had some very candid discussions, and I guess ideally for the planning commission at this point would just be to receive the board's blessing to continue doing the work that we've been doing, and it ultimately comes to the board anyway, so.
Well, do you think, and you know, we've had a lot of meetings on short-term rentals, do you think it's time for like another kind of a summit or something like that, you know?
I don't, because we've been through that how many times, and the end result is the same, you know? One side of the room is stacked one way, one side is stacked the other way, and that's how it starts and it ends, so. I don't know what there is to gain in that, other than just another special meeting or whatever we happen to have at this time. Now, eventually we will. The planning commission will have a special meeting. It'll be deemed a workshop, but it's a special meeting that will be dedicated to the short-term rental, but I don't think we're quite there yet. We need to get a little closer to the end of the process. Will we do that?
Okay, well, I guess at this point, we don't have to, attack it. Like you say, it's not gonna happen in 5 minute discussion we're gonna have, so, I would encourage all the board members to read the current version of the short-term rental, and
If I could add on that the current version is just, it's a draft too. There's things that are put in there that are in there for just to prompt discussion on that matter, even whether they stay or change or go away completely. There's things in there that aren't going to be in the final product, but they're there just to prompt discussion on
okay. Well, appreciate your work on that. You wanna mention anything on the cold front diesel thing, or?
We're going to, yeah, we do have, we were presented with a site plan request in commercial light industry from Old Farm Diesel to put in a new building. And it was presented to us literally at the meeting, so, yeah, so a couple days later, Chris and I sat down with John and Dave Schaefer from Old Farm Diesel and reviewed his site plan, and we had a couple of questions on it. So he's working on that, and I was in the other day and worked on some others. Hopefully we'll hear that at the, we should be able to do it at the May 5 meeting.
Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
All right.
And then we do have a rezoning request that likely will be coming up at the June.
This is on the property off Wilhelm.
And that's all we have.
Okay. All right. We are up to Parks and Rec. I'm assuming Dave is the only representative from Parks and Rec here today. They did submit a written report. They did. Parks and Rec.
You would email it to us.
Yes. We do have a example here. I know Dave's been working on this, but those of you that haven't seen the logo for our new park up there, we've, through suggestions or whatever, added the different branches of services to the thing, as well as the first responders, the fire department, that type of thing. But I don't want to steal Dave's thunder, so go ahead.
Okay, I'll just be as quick as I can here, I got some exciting things to share. The Rotary Charities grant is 97% done. We're working on the budget end of it, and that will be done before May 1st deadline. And we have a social media expert from Traverse City that's helping us put all our social media together. Where our Allegra Printing is working on a website for us. Located webcam for us up there at the park. So we'll incorporate all those things into our social media. Should be pretty exciting there. Rapid River Night Works in the UP, friends of mine, and I've been back and forth over the years talking to things with them. He called me the other day, some real exciting news. There are expert night builders up there. And he has offered to design some military type of knives. And they have little stands for them, so we can sell them for fundraisers. And he has such good equipment to engrave, you can put a person's face on things. It's high quality stuff. But the most exciting part about that is he says, Dave, gotta get a website. I said, I'm working. Can I mention it to him? And he said, once you do that, I can let you share with our social media. I figured he's gonna, I said, okay, I knew that. I thought he was gonna say, oh, I got 25 or 30,000. He has 250,000 people. So we'll be accessing into that, his whole network there. And this stuff is high quality, and he'll give us a good break on things for our veterans. And then he's very good friends with Jay Sporting. They grew up together. So we'll have our stuff in there even once that gets going. That's in the development stage right now. Allegra Crane is getting some postcards ready for us for the Trout Festival, parades, and then I'll be picking up trash for the festival again. So I will be handing those out there, just to get the word out, like our new park. We have a new image, I think I sent some of you that, of a drone image of Skegamaw Lake. You can actually see Old Mission Peninsula, and it's a great shot. That will be used in the Northern Properties magazine that we are gonna be in. That will be with the postcards that we're gonna be making up, that same image. And then the Kalkaska Conservation District is gonna conduct a 4G walk hike at our new park on May 17th. They will be using that same drone footage, so we're gonna get, similar images out to promote our park. We will be in a parade with WKLP. Get Sales called me the other day, and their manager, and says, well, Dave, I got some good news for you. I said, what's that? They have authorized us through, they nominate us, better term. They nominate 2 nonprofits within their region. We are one of them. And it don't get offered until September or decided on. But it's $25,000 cash and $25,000 in equipment grants. So it's a pretty neat deal. So in other words, our word's getting out to our community. They want to get involved. And we were chose for that. I didn't pursue them at all. We have a new trail builder. We'll meet, Josh and I will meet him next week sometime. He's really busy. He's a Leelanau County tree man, but he's worked on Boston Trail, Tar Trails, Iceman Trails, and he's offered to come over here with his trail building equipment, forestry equipment, and he's all in. He's all for free. He's in. So we have all kinds of people that are really enjoying being involved with the Patriot Park. We were working on the Pitts Fitters game on June 30th.
28th,
Pardon?
June 28th.
It's 28th? Well, yeah, anyways, we're working on that. And, I have, Margaret's daughter singing the national anthem, and we are gonna be directing all kinds of activities there. We have all the services. Recruiters are gonna be there, and just, we're working on the first responders. And then, we have first pitcher, and it's, Jonathan Turnbull from, Gators. Yeah, he is actually blind, and he didn't hesitate when I asked him. So we have a blind guy throwing out the first pitch. It's just about like me throwing out the first pitch. It's probably worse, it's probably better. Anyways, before I came, he's on national TV, he's on national ads. And he's all 110% into us. He's already invited his Gold Star families here that were killed in the operation that they were on. The survey is scheduled, we're gonna do it this week, or this month, before the leaves come out. And then we are requesting we have a donation of some storage containers for construction needs. And one will be on Hill Road, and then one will be up at our Overlook area. And we were wondering if we could get that approval from you guys. And we may just get one of them, depends on our needs, but we have offered a donation of 2 of them, one on either side. That way we can lock up our equipment and products, so nothing disappears. And, so we would like to do that. And then, I do have a few other things for the fertilizer situation.
Whereabouts do you want to put that?
One would be at the, road commission, right up Hill Road. And then one will be up near our parking lot. We do have a parking lot up there. Avery Construction came up there and did that just before it snowed. And, so up there near the Overlook. So it's handy, because, we'll start the good disc golf, right there down, right in there. So that'll be kind of centrally located. We'll be able to truck things in there and then lock them up. So
I was more asking on the top one because I'll probably have to go to the road commission and get them to sign something, liability or whatever.
Yeah, but they're all
I've talked to them about it.
But up on the top, near the Overlook, back by the parking lot. So it's not in the way, construction and trucks coming in.
Sure.
So it'll be up in that area. And they're both donated.
While we're on that subject, does anybody have any objections to a storage container being used for storage up there? Anybody? No? I guess you have permission to.
Thank you.
Locate that.
It's just necessary, just for, things are all smooth.
Sure.
Get with me just so I can put something in the files, just in case anybody questions it, so. No problem. Not that anybody would question it.
But I'm done with that unless I do have a few things I wanna mention on the fertilizer, Heritage Park.
Yep, I got a couple of bids. The gentleman that we, normally have, or I shouldn't say normally, for the past couple of years has done the fertilizing out at, Heritage Park, and we thought maybe we should get a couple estimates, so we have one from True Green, and this Hometown Lawn Service. And I got this first one from Hometown in January, and it was for 3 applications throughout the year, early spring, late spring, and summer insect control thing. $3,720. Same company sent an estimate later, and they added 2 more treatments. And what they charge is $1,240 every time they come out there for a treatment. Now, the True Green one, well, first I should say that the 3 application one was $3,720, the 5 application one from hometown was $6,200. But the True Green one, which includes literally 5 applications, is $3,750. A very detailed and lengthy stuff here. I will just say this, and I've heard from people that, you know, have animals in that, and they're not all real fond of those chemicals going out there on the thing, so. You know, do we wanna do that or not? I guess that's something we need to discuss, but I will say this, the weed control and stuff like that, those are actually plant hormones that they apply. And they tell the plant like to grow deeper roots or stop growing so tall, or they have like little functions that, you know, turn green or whatever. Use less water. There's all kinds of different things that you do, okay, so. But, like I was saying, small animals, pets, people have issues with that, and I completely understand it. But, it's something we need to decide if we're gonna do it or not, so. I'll throw that out there. Well, just 1 second, Dave, you have something, go ahead.
Yeah. I agree 100% with Jim, that was one of the things that you bring up. Number 2, this is a complete waste of money, complete. What we need to do, and I've been trying to get that information from Parks and Rec, they are withholding it from me. And it's very hard to get information from them, for whatever reason, we can't really do that right now. It's very, very difficult. And so what I want to know is because all I get is, there's obligations we have to do because of the old grants. But what are those obligations? When does those expire? I can't get anything. So we need to find out that. And number 2, if you're, and all I get is, oh, we need to maintain because of the request of the grant. Well, okay, I suggest we maintain it by getting some black dirt out there, filling up all the patches. It's terrible, especially for little kids to walk through. There are old people like me. Fill in black dirt, aerate, you borrow my aerator, aerate it, put some grass seed down, we already water it. Spraying those chemicals on there is ridiculous, just ridiculous. You're not gonna gain anything. It's, unless you're infested by bugs, maybe some bug stuff, but. And then number 2 on that thing, I asked, who uses that park? What's the schedule? Oh, nobody are scheduled to use that park. I said, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, no, we just need to maintain it. And so we need to look into what obligations have been through past grants and look at them, and I think we'll find that we can put black dirt in there to maintain things, and we'll improve things versus just throwing poison on
Is
area.
this at Heritage?
Heritage Park.
So there's also residential people that live around there too,
Not
close,
really.
in close
Not close,
proximity,
no,
that have pets. My understanding
no,
is that
people
the
bring pets
neighbors,
though.
my understanding was one of the neighbors' pets come and was down.
Well, I would say that there's plenty of pets that people take to Heritage, that's.
Yeah, there is a real concern with pets. And, also, if we do the dirt, we should start at our new playground. So our kids can walk up to the playground and not stumble. It's terrible walking out there. Go over there and look sometime. It's just terrible. So that should be done. That's maintenance that is probably gonna be okay with whatever agreements they have. And it's just totally ridiculous spending money on poison. It does nothing, hardly anything. We get some grass growing there and then that's a different story. We water and fertilize grass.
I think most of it's just water is most of the problem.
Yeah, and if you keep it cut, what happens with weeds, they get a memory, they'll stay, they won't grow as much. If they know they're gonna be buzzed down, they really don't grow that much. So.
Go ahead.
Total weeds in my yard, weeds.
I don't know if anyone was aware, but I did a lot of maintenance on those fields last year. I did keep the chalk and everything up. There is a little league scheduled to play this summer too in the lower field. Currently, I just got contacted today. The youth soccer is gonna be using the soccer field starting this week. So I just asked Craig if the nets were up and he said they were, so. There is scheduled stuff you might not be aware, but they're contacting me because I've been the one in charge of getting everything cleaned up. Those fields been destroyed. And I've been working with them trying to get clay and black dirt and all that stuff while maintaining it.
While we were talking, Bob looked up on his phone, they do have a organic at True Green. They have some organic,
That's so much organic.
so I don't know if that organic is included in this price, so I'm thinking that's probably more, just a guess, but I don't know.
They're real good, you may throw that in if you want fertilizer, but I say no fertilizer until we get some grass grown. It's really crazy. In my opinion, that should have never been allowed in the past, never.
Well,
It's just another big waste of money in our.
I don't wanna turn this into a Parks and Rec meeting.
Okay, I'm just bringing that up.
But, yes, and again, if we were to approve this, it would come out of the Parks and Rec budget, which, you know, we're all on a budget these days. So where do we go here? Do we, is it a consensus here that we're not necessarily interested in putting down the chemicals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that consensus?
Yes.
Okay, I kind of agree with that too. I don't have a dog now, but when I did, I hated that and I had to go dragging through those places.
That's great.
So, I guess we don't need to worry about any of these, bids at the moment, but maybe we start getting some prices on dairy dew or something. I don't, you know, different black dirt sources.
Black dirt estimates, and I probably will get it donated, I'm pretty good at getting people to donate. And, yeah, there's a lot of good, our contractors, excavators, and blade around here.
Yeah, and I agree, the cost should come out of the Parks and Rec budget.
Absolutely, yeah.
We still have a, playground equipment.
It's on the thing.
$22,000.
Yep, we're getting there.
Okay.
All set?
That's beautiful, thank you.
Okay,
guys.
a couple other things, regarding Parks and Rec that came to me, Tim Lund. Last year, he was, kind of a part-time Parks and Rec person. He is one of the founding people of the Heritage Park out there. In fact, if you look at the walkway around there, it says, you know, the Tim Lund, you know, half-mile trail or something. Somebody, his family, him and his family, were big responsibility for putting that in. Anyway, he's an older gentleman. He, you know, wanted to improve the park and he worked out there, but as it would turn out, he was given a drug test and he came back with trace amounts of substance that is not allowed in. So the previous administration decided that they would let him go for that, okay? You know, I've looked at our drug policy, and if someone isn't driving a car and they're not acting impaired, then trace amounts, I mean, that substance is legal. So if you're, you know, one day involved with it, you're gonna test with those small trace amounts for a period. So because it's legal and trace amounts are naturally gonna exist, I personally don't see where we should be keeping him from being allowed to work on the park.
Was he getting paid?
Was he able
Yes, he
to-
was getting paid. He was getting paid. Part-time, I believe. Andrew, did you get paid either? No?
I got paid for
Lights.
installing the banners and the lights,
Right.
but all my other stuff is.
But anyway, Tim Lund has sent me a letter asking if the board has a different opinion on, our drug policy at this point. And it's not a decision for me to make alone. I'm open to listen to anybody on the board who has an opinion and wants to share.
If it's a paid position, we would have to address it with our, employee.
Well,
Job
there is a letter, I have it in Tom's email from both our insurance company and our lawyer, and both of them have said that trace amounts are not something that you can literally fire somebody for. Unless it's a job, there was like 5 jobs listed and, like a marijuana inspector, that was one of them. Police, fire, that kind of thing, like our firemen, same kind of thing, they're not allowed to have any amount. It's a DOT drug screen that they give them, so, but, I don't think of somebody that's trying to work in our park, he's not using mechanical equipment. As far as driving or anything like that, our insurance company is not opposed to him being there with these trace amounts and that. And our lawyer also said that that is not, a legitimate reason to can somebody, so. My opinion is that we should allow him to work and monitor him. If he looks impaired, that's when you send him for a drug test, and if it comes back and he's got it, well then, that's.
Do we have a job description for him? Do we have the amount of money that he makes?
I would have to research the amount that he was getting paid. I don't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking to hire him, I'm asking if it would be possible for him to be rehired, because that's.
Jim?
Yes, ma'am.
He is currently still suspended. He was not let go.
Okay. Without pay.
Right.
Yes.
Do you
Well-
remember what he was making per hour?
25.
Parks set that in their budget, so we would have to look at what their budget has on it right now. Did they include that?
I don't know.
25, I know.
Okay, well, like I said, we're not hiring him at this point. I'm just curious if I can tell him that, we would be open to that if he still wanted to apply and, work, or if we're gonna continue to ban him from working. Or keep him suspended. No comment. Go ahead, Dave.
I agree with Michelle. It should determine what the job description is. I think he had a padded deal out there.
Could be.
They even had him, I think it was $5 or $7.50, he could go spend it anytime he wanted at any place. I think that if you do decide to bring him back, that needs to be just
Cracked down.
majorly. And what does he do? He was just full,
Well,
run them up out there.
Yeah.
Turn in your sheet and get your check. So
Yeah.
I agree with Michelle, that needs to be, if whoever, hire him or somebody
It
else.
would be Parks and Rec that would be deciding if they want to utilize him. Whereas the board have said that he couldn't previously, and I'm asking now if that's still the case, or if he would be allowed to reply. That's all I'm.
Okay, then we would like your description. Parks and Rec. So,
Well, the Parks and Rec would technically decide what it is or isn't he's doing.
You would have to provide that information to us. We're gonna be working on job descriptions.
okay. Okay, we will. I don't know how quick we're gonna be able to get it to you. But
Well,
maybe Andrew could have some,
even a
things that
bullet
would need to be
point,
done.
what that individual would be
We'll
doing.
try to get something to you.
Okay.
Between Andrew and I by the 22nd.
And if you could anticipate how many hours that person would have involved.
He's very familiar with it.
Okay, and then
Okay.
you already said that individual made $25 an hour.
That's what I believe they pay.
Okay, one last thing on the Parks and Rec, and that is the discussion on the cost of the recently purchased playground equipment. We need to decide. I think we can all agree that the process stinks as to how it was set up for us. There was and most people here know, it was $96,000 for that.
9750 with Spencer Group.
Spencer Group, yeah, 9750. They did get a small reduction of like 35,000. I think the end price was 65 plus the Spencer thing. 67.5. Of which they put like 44 down, I think. And for some reason, we were left with the balance of that.
We put, I think, and Christine could probably answer that. I think initially we put $9,800 from the interest in the ARPA fund. I
Okay.
think went towards that, and I mean, it's.
And then there was 22 left over.
And there, somewhere it was floating around prior to that, they were given like $30,000.
Parks and Rec put in 35,000 and the township did 9,000. That's what we paid them.
Okay.
And then the additional 22 that was left over.
Yeah.
Okay, I think what we're concerned with at this point is the last payment of the 22 that we made.
Mhm. Well, we haven't made it yet because we didn't approve it, where it was coming from.
Okay.
So I mean, it has to be paid, it's there.
Mhm. Yes, yes. I could have swore we made a motion though and decided to pay it.
Yeah, we were determining where we were gonna pay it out of.
Okay. Well, that'll make it easier then. So now all we have to do is decide proportionally how we want to cover this, so. Dave?
It's my understanding it was 9,800 and the total amount is like 35,000 that we need.
The board paid.
And, we were gonna, take that from parks, their funds,
Mhm.
but now
For
we're.
their next year's funds.
Well, no,
For
we're
this
gonna take
current year.
half this year and half next year.
Well, that's what we're discussing now. is
Right.
terms.
Right, so it was a decision that was made by the previous board that we got stuck with
To pay for it.
to pay for it.
Mhm.
So, that's pretty much it.
Mhm. We had kind of discussed this earlier, and I'll throw it out there as a suggestion. My thoughts were maybe that we should split it. And,
No. I think it should go out of Parks and Rec.
yeah,
Yep. Because this is my opinion is that when we're getting equipment and it's with a mill, right? Like there was a $250,000 for operation and maintenance. And when we met with them, it was supposed to be for improvement, and that's not the wording on it.
Mhm.
It definitely needs to be paid, it's there.
Mhm.
But also committees that are volunteers are gonna have to have a realistic idea of how much that we're able to spend. You know, yeah, it's a great idea, you know, I went out, I looked at the equipment, do I think it's $96,000 worth of playground equipment? No, I do not. Do I think that it should come out of Parks and Rec's budget? I'll just be on the minutes to say, I think it should come out of their budget, and I think moving forward, you know, being careful on money spent, because we just do not have the money.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, the previous board didn't provide the guidelines and advised them, and they approved it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and we're a new board, we can amend that.
And I went to Parks and Rec, don't have their own guidelines to do this type of business.
Mhm.
They are just inefficient completely on those type of purposes. That needs to be addressed.
Michelle, did you
It
say,
needs some bylaws.
did you say the ballot proposal, was for operations and maintenance?
That is correct.
And not improvements, and that is an
Yes.
improvement, so. Unfortunately, that got through the cracks from the previous board,
Mhm.
so that, here we are.
All right, well, to, move this along, so let's get the exact amount we're talking the 22,000 or the whole shebang?
It's
whole
22,
shebang.
it's 22,000 that
That's
is
leveled
remaining,
out.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yes,
That bill needs to be paid,
okay.
and in my opinion, it needs to come out of their budget.
Absolutely.
So let's,
Absolutely.
How about, wait a minute, how about the 9,800?
We've already paid that, so we're not gonna take that money back from them, but the balance of it, they should pay. I mean, that was committed from the prior board paid it.
Mhm.
We can't, you know what I mean, but the 22,000 should come out of their budget.
Mhm.
Well, if
Just-
that's the case, then I would say all at once instead of half.
Absolutely.
Next year.
Absolutely.
Christine, I was hoping maybe you might have some input on this. It's a pretty big decision.
Well, my only thought is if you look at their budget that they presented to us, if you take that much money out of their budget, that doesn't leave them any money to do half of the stuff that they want to do. And they want to do a lot of stuff in the parks, like fixing the bridge across the river. That thing needs done bad. I don't know what else is on there that they're planning to do, but I think that should be a consideration.
And I would think that these types of things that maybe if they have legitimate bids for them and they came to the board, that we would then vote on those items individually.
Exactly.
And, you know.
Sure, those
maybe-
are just things that they're budgeting for, that they want to use their money towards. So if they do that, they would do bids. I also had another thought, and that is possibly public improvement funds.
Yeah,
Yep, there are sources, other sources
Yeah.
of funds that we could, allow them to use.
Their most recent bank statement was 45,000 was in their account.
Mhm. That's what quarter.
Okay, so the 22 is taken from that.
then they're at 23,000.
Absolutely.
And then it just means that they have to tweak their budget like we had to tweak ours, which means we're not getting a new deck this year.
Mhm. Well, my opinion, and I'm, like I say, one voice here. I don't want to bankrupt them, so I would be in favor of splitting it into 2 payments and collecting it all that way, but I'm open to anybody's motion that wants to make one.
Well, is the playground company gonna allow them to pay in 2 separate payments to them?
Well, no, what I'm suggesting is that we
The general fund pay half and then the Parks and Rec pay the other half?
well.
I don't agree with that.
No,
I don't
No.
need to borrow from you.
okay, well, like I said, I'm one voice, so. If someone wants to make a motion, throw it out there.
I make a motion that it be paid out of Parks and Rec.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, let's put the amount in the motion.
$22,000, the balance of the invoice.
Okay, and that was a motion by Michelle. And seconded by Dave. Okay, quick roll call vote. Michelle,
Yes?
Dave,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Jim? I'm gonna say no. And Christine?
Is she allowed to vote? No.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, Christine,
no, I
you can't vote. Sorry about that. Force a habit there. All right, well, that motion carries. I think that concludes, Parks and Rec.
Well, I have one question, Parks and Rec, on
Sure.
have we straightened out the old 501c3 that was there, wasn't there, was there again?
It no longer exists.
So the board has, but shouldn't the board do an official thing?
Yes,
Have we done, or we're looking at that?
yes.
Thanks.
It's, being drafted, let's just
Okay,
put that.
thank you.
But yes,
Didn't want to be left.
yeah, and there's only one member of the original organization that I can even locate to tell that they're terminated, so I don't think that's gonna be an issue at all. Mhm. And that would be Dave Israel, by the way, for those. Okay, I have a quick maintenance report other than,
Jim, can I
Yes,
answer
whatever.
something? I just wanted to let you know that I did look at the minutes. I think it was August of 24 when the request came in from Parks and Rec to approve $25 an hour with a cap of 260 hours from May through October for the dedicated Heritage Park maintenance. But there is no job description.
And how much did that total, Christine? Do you have a calculator?
6,500.
6,500. Okay.
Okay, maintenance report was submitted by writing. And it says here that graffiti under the Rapid City Bridge will be or has been covered. That's not the case yet.
Most of it is done now, we just, he was working on it today, so.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not finished, but most of the graffiti itself is covered, it's splotchy.
Did you have any luck with the,
No, the deputy's gonna go back tonight.
Get your waders on.
So, we got the GPS coordinates, it got us pretty close, but who knows?
Okay, one other thing with the maintenance report, there's a receipt from Gilroy's for a battery. Christine, were you given that bill, or? I'm told that gosh, I can't remember the name of the piece of equipment now, but it's the mower that you sit in and zero turn, that's it. Zero turn battery, was hard to charge the battery, didn't start right away, it took quite a little while, so. He came to me and asked about, upgrading the battery, and I told him it's $75, so. There's a bill here for that, Christine, if you haven't seen it.
I saw a quote, but I didn't see a bill.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well. I think this is an actual bill.
Yeah, no, well,
It
it's a
says
quote.
so.
He didn't buy it yet.
Oh,
He wanted us to approve it and then he'd go buy it.
okay, well. Then you haven't seen it, Christine, and, something else here too, $134. Okay, this is the original thing there, which we do need to discuss that as well. Okay, so while we're still on maintenance here, the battery purchase, we had a piece of equipment, our second, John Deere tractor with the bucket on it. The only piece of equipment we have with the bucket. It went to the John Deere place down here, Hudson, and they originally gave us an estimate of $1440. It was there for 3 to 4 weeks, and he gave me a call and said that he ran into more issues and that it would be closer to 2,000 than the 1440. I approved that. He then took another couple weeks, and when the bill came, it was $4,016, so over twice what was initially said. So I called him up and we talked back and forth. He talked to his manager and they reduced the amount of labor, and he lowered it down to $2,900. Still a lot more than what we initially asked for, but $2,900 will get our piece of equipment back. You know, this. Up for discussion. What would you like to do?
Well, we obviously need to get it back. Now, my question is, when we have things like this come up, so as board members, will we vote on it before we approve it? Or are we allowed a certain amount of leeway?
I think we can approve it if we want to, and we're not gonna get our equipment back if we don't pay for it, so we're kind of in a pinch, but. Maybe at some point towards the end of summer, maybe we might want to discuss parting with that piece of equipment.
Absolutely.
So I don't.
Lease out something.
Maybe use it as a trade-in to put a bucket on the new one we just got or something.
Yeah, I think isn't that the only thing that is that people like it, is for the bucket on.
It's the only piece of equipment we have with the bucket, yes. So I'll go ahead and make a motion that we pay the Hudson bill. Try to get it exact amount here. $2,923.44. Okay. Jim? All right, I'll go ahead and take a quick roll call. Michelle?
No.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Yes. Jim, yes. Dave?
Yes.
And Bob? Yes. That motion passes.
How about the battery? We didn't make a motion and pass, that.
It's a $75 purchase. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell them to do it. I don't think we need to vote on that.
Yeah, because there's a certain limit where we don't have to vote on.
Yeah, in fact, as supervisor, I think I have $750 or $1,000 that I can just approve.
There you go.
So, you know.
How many of those do you got?
And then we do it each
And I
day.
can do that every day, so just keep that in mind.
That's as long as it's within the budget.
There's gonna be this little offshoot that's like a total disaster if we don't do it.
Well, the price will go up every year, you know, I mean, the equipment's already there, so.
And we talked about you're getting the value because the equipment's there and all. Why?
Okay, just to run a few numbers here, okay, this 428,668.79. We currently have $571,000 in our road fund. So initially, when we set this all up, we were just gonna borrow the money to do both of the roads. Our portion was roughly in the close to 800,000, it was 757 or something like that. But since we have 571,000, the down payment is 428,000. That will leave a very small amount for us to actually have to borrow. So, and the reason, that we're borrowing it is because it's such a massive project, but the, remaining 428,000, if we were to take our installment loan and just borrow a flat 500, we would have money set aside for that last payment for the Hoyles and Zimmerman project, and there's a little buffer in there. This could go potentially 10% either way. That's how the bids work. So we would have that end payment covered. We're still going to have, after that 428 comes out, it's like 150,000 is still left in there. We have Underhill to pay for, which it is, I don't think it's gonna be that much. Like I said, the whole amount that's left is 147, so we would still have money for the Underhill project and potentially enough for the Lad Road project. Okay, the reason we have this 571,000 in the road fund right now is because when we made these plans to pave these two roads, we had just renewed a 2 mil 4-year road millage. And each year we get about $344,000. So that's why we have that 571, is because we've just received the first year of that 4-year millage. So we still have 3 years of $344,000 plus however it goes, a certain percentage. So we have not only the money to pay that back, we were still gonna have, 150,000 close to, give or take a little each year for additional road projects for the remaining 3 years of road millage. Sounds like a really good deal to me. We passed it out at the road committee over and over and over. We figured that by paying this 428 down, we're gonna save close to $100,000 somewhere in the whole project, so I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the 428,668.79 down payment to come directly out of the road fund. And that'll not only get they're literally waiting for that right now, but that will get both those projects underway and regarding this. Okay.
We are seeing protests.
Okay.
But this was yesterday.
Okay.
All right, so there's a motion on the table to approve 428,668.79 for the down payments on Hoyles and Zimmerman Road project. Is there a second?
Second. Oh, one second.
Okay.
I second everything.
All right, Bob? Michelle?
This was San Diego.
All right, let's do a roll call vote. Michelle, how do you vote?
Yes.
Bob? Yes. Jim is a yes. Dave?
Yes.
This was South Dakota yesterday, outside the.
All right, that motion to pay the down payment for Hoyles and Zimmerman is passes. All right, so I will toss out there, since we're just right there, the Lad Road project, which could potentially be about $40,000. Be done at the same time as the Crystal Beach Road paving. I'll make that motion that we approve that. I am gonna add one little stipulation. And I'm going to tell John Rogers that we're not gonna pay for Lad Road until the funds come in from the loan. So we'll have a little delay there in case Underhill is a little more, we'll have enough to cover it. So I'll just make sure that he knows that they're not getting any money until the loan comes in, so. The end of the year, we'll have another 344,000 roll in, and I don't know what the payments would be on $500,000. And our goal is to pay it off in 3 payments and use the road millage fund for the entire thing. That's already dedicated for road. It has to be spent on road, so spend it on road. So a motion to include Lad Road in the Crystal Beach paving. Do I have a second?
Crystal Beach, what?
James, your microphone is on. Okay, with Jim and Michelle?
Yes.
All right, I'll take a roll call vote. Dave?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Jim? Yes.
Side note on the committee, they also said that they're gonna go further on Zimmerman Road.
That is correct. That's correct. They're gonna go over the crest of the hill a little farther than originally.
Spur road.
Yes. Thanks, guys. All right, and there's only one other thing I see, that's the tar and chip is gonna take place late spring and early summer
Yeah,
for Rapid City Road.
yeah.
That includes Hill Road too, right?
I don't think so. I think it's just Rapid City.
Maybe.
Maybe we might, it'd be a good thing if it did.
Mhm.
It needs this. I just got a couple last little bit.
Okay, sure.
We talked about now that we're kind of slowly catching up on these paved roads, we got a lot of dirt roads. We are slowly gonna put a list together where, you know, the high traffic roads, and we're gonna do a study pretty much.
That's
from the road
right.
commission, to figure out where we need to start. We do wanna ask Jim if he would go and get a bid on a couple things. One would be, Kellogg. We want that be a start of gravel roads. We get a price on how much should be for 4 inches to be laid down on that road. We did do some ditching last summer on that road, and it's a cut through from Valley to Plum Valley. So,
Very high traffic.
yeah, it's quite a bit of traffic. So we'd like to see if we can get a price on that. If we can do it this year, if not, then we'll know what we can do.
What if we put 4 inches on it this year and try to pave it next year?
But,
I mean, the base would be there,
right. It's always an option.
because after the hill was paved, it was a mean change.
Right. The other thing was, those of you know that travel Arwood and Valley, we got a lot of edge drops. I know we did
Horrible.
a year or so
I tell them
ago.
every time I go to a meeting there, the same thing, and that's like the number one complaint in there that you see in the complaint logs.
Yeah.
So we're,
We did gravel it. I don't know if it's a year, it's been 2 now, but We did gravel the whole thing, Valley and in Clearwater Township. It don't last long.
No.
Um,
Why is that?
Well, we got a lot of heavy boat traffic. I mean, going to the ramps, you got rental companies that are constantly, I don't know how many times a day they're up and down the road on Arwood alone. And you even get semis that, so it was an overlay back in, I don't know what year it was, but anyways,
A few years ago.
it never got really fixed. They do the best they can when they pave over patched roads. Well, you still get the slants. They never go away. So when trailers are following behind a vehicle, those don't stay on the road, they fall off those slants. So that's where we're getting those edge drops. And we're breaking the edge of the pavement because of those. We get the heavy truck traffic. Anyways, my request is, Grand Traverse Road Commission did this over, if anyone travels in the Pike Lake area on Supply. They did a 3-foot shoulder added on to the original pavement, and then they topped it with a tar and chip, which would seal the roads to hold it. With that 3-foot putting on there helps protect that and seal it up, so the edge don't break anymore.
So we have road on outside of the fog line is what you're saying.
Well, right now, currently the shoulder, the fog line
Is the shoulder.
is the shoulder.
Yeah.
So this would add an actual white line by putting this 3-foot on each side. And give more room for those trailers to stay on, go on that grade. I know it's a primary road, so it kind of falls more on the county side, but.
It's an 80-20 split. They pay 80 on those.
Right, but I think we
Sounds
need to
like a
start
good deal.
pushing the issue more to see if we can get done.
That's good, maybe for next year. I don't see where we have additional funds to do that this year, but we could get a plan together and present it. I think it's a great idea.
I do know John Rogers has got a safety grant currently going out on
Cool.
that.
Same, similar thing?
Oh, down
by Steelers.
Yep. Yep.
Terrible.
And I know that Rapid River did do Acton, so that's another option. But it's pretty expensive. No, they don't.
Quick comment?
I was just gonna agree with everything that was said. I was gonna suggest what Andrew said, aligned it. And if we're splitting that with them, not knocking them, because they gotta plow the roads, but a lot of that is from the plowing. You know, they can't help it, but they're plowing,
Sure,
their trucks are running there and they're busting it up too.
Right.
A lot busted up this winter. I'm not blaming them. They got a lot.
Yeah.
So they may be able to be an angle to get them to work out money.
Sounds good.
And I'm good.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
that's the side of the road on Valley Roads you're at.
In Arwood.
Okay.
All right, on to supervisor correspondence. All right. Couple things. Well, first of all, number B there, we've already discussed that when we were in maintenance, so we can eliminate that one. So Joanne, has been. Well, first Joanne's father years ago used to put veterans flags on all the, veterans headstones at the cemetery, Gillett Road and the Catholic cemetery. Every year consistently, the township has supplied money for the flags and some flowers and that over Memorial. So I got a request for up to $500 for flags and flowers to be coming out of the cemetery fund. I'll make a motion to approve that if there's a second.
I second.
Okay. And do a quick vote. Jim, yes. Michelle?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
And Bob? Yes. All right, that motion passes. Try to get through these quickly. Sheriff request $8,000 in overtime assistance, and they're also requesting that we chip in on a wave runner for them. I know.
Buying away from her.
No, they rent it. They rent it. Yeah.
Fourth of
They
July.
rent it. You may get the letter here and I'll just,
Those are John's report, but.
oh yeah, he had one there too. That's right. I'll just look at his. Yes, it says, good afternoon, Jim. As the snow melts today, wanted to get a couple things ready for the 4th of July. Need a resolution, and this we can do for them, a resolution to shut down the Lake Street access for the 4th of July through the 6th. We do this annually every year. It's like their little gathering spot. So, I will go ahead and make that motion that we, allow the police to use their location on Lake Street access. We shut it down.
There is no walking access for public.
Yes, it's just no parking, and they put up a barricade, so no vehicles, so I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll
This is
second.
on the closing of the park.
1 second.
Okay, Jim, yes, Michelle,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Bob.
Yes.
Okay, now, as far as the $8,000, and they say overtime assistance, that's what he's saying, they have overtime over the 4th of July weekend, and this is to offset that, so. I'm not a big fan of this, I'm not gonna vote yes for it, but. You know, that is something where we may need to do something. I don't know if this is, I don't like the $8,000 figure, I think it's inflated.
We asked them for additional proposals, what they could do, that isn't necessarily their $8,000 in overtime.
Just so the board knows too, that they usually take the wave runners for 2 days, the 3rd and 4th, at $400 a day, so that's another $800 on top of that.
Mhm.
That's the worst time to run.
It's like the highest time of year. So, I'll throw it out there, I'll make a motion, we pay the 8,000. Well, I'm making a motion so we can vote on it. Okay, not that I'm gonna agree with it, because I'm gonna vote no. But I'll still make the motion that we approve $8,000 to the Kalkaska Sheriff's Department for overtime assistance for the 4th through the 6th of July. Is there a second?
How would that be funded?
Good question. If it's not passed, it won't be. It won't need to be, but, if it was to be, I would think public safety, do we have something in the realm of public safety in a fund somewhere, don't we? That was a question for you, Christine, in case you didn't know.
Not to my knowledge.
Where do they normally take it out of?
It usually comes out of general fund, but we don't have room in our budget to add that $8,000.
All right, well then I'm gonna continue with the motion, and if I don't get a second, it will die. So I'm asking for a second, going once. Going twice. Okay. And just to say that we visited it, I'm going to make a motion that we offer $800 for the Wave Runner rental for that same period. Is there a second? Second going once. Is there a second going twice? Okay,
Now, with that said, I would suggest maybe they could come back with some reasonable options,
Okay.
not exactly.
okay. Is there a reasonable number out there that we would consider?
Well,
'Cause I
we
could
don't
just tell
want to
them.
give them a reasonable number, we want them to give it to us and what that gets us.
Mhm, mhm. Well, he comes back with half. I mean, we can make a motion right now and approve half if we want to. I'm sure they would be glad with anything. But again, that's just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'd like to see it in a proposal, even if it was half, like what are we getting for half? How many hours are we getting? How many
That's another
people
thing.
are-
We get no documentation.
Yeah, we don't get anything other than we want money.
All right, well then I guess this will. I'll have to get in touch with the sheriff and break the news to him. All right, okay, I'm gonna run through E before I do D, if that's okay. Anybody have an objection to that? Okay, Heritage Festival, we have for the last couple of years been using the corner of the lawn there by the Township Hall. I am a member of the Heritage Festival. I'm a non-voting member during my tenure as supervisor, so I'm not involved in the decision process, but they're seeking permission to use that space again for the summer. We set up a tent, a 40 by 80 tent, you know, bands.
Made something, I don't know, maybe it was too late, but
Okay.
it was kind of
I have some questions.
Go ahead with your question.
Why don't we have a Heritage Festival at Heritage Park?
so, it's a power situation.
Oh.
We need to have power for the band.
Logical.
And all that, and the pavilion's not strong enough to
Okay.
provide that power, so.
Because everybody
Last-
loved it at the Heritage.
Yeah,
Park.
we would love to have it back
Yeah,
there, more room.
no,
And the water, the carnival provided, needed water, and it needed to be come from a source that
yeah.
can be.
Okay, I just wanted the logic behind it. That was-
Yeah.
I know there's a reason, I
Yeah.
just was curious.
So, there's been a power pole that was originally 20-some years ago that was put in, we updated, we paid for it. We have our own.
No, I just wanted the logic, Andrew, I just was curious. So that's absolutely.
But we're looking to hopefully move to a park whenever they get upgraded or we find our own property.
Right? Heritage Festival, Heritage Park, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to letter E, I will make a motion that we allow Heritage Festival to use the location on the north side of the Township Hall, where the power pole is, and
And that's over by.
Right there by where the.
on the back side, where the tennis courts used to be there, behind the post office, yep,
I'm fine with that.
okay. I know, okay, Michelle. And Bob. Okay, I think we can just do all in favor here.
Yes.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, and then that one last thing there, the Treasury Department. People that we had a really good webinar
We
with,
did.
they sent me a listing of a couple municipal attorneys. I forwarded that to everybody, so I would just like. You know, maybe in our next meeting or something, we can. Research those law firms, see which one we want to agree on. Move forward with it there. We can do that on April 22nd if everybody has an opportunity to do that, otherwise we'll push that to our next regular meeting. Old business. All right, we have currently have a posting, it came out in the newspaper today, actually, seeking some bids and cost estimates for internet, phone, and IT services. We're getting hosed right now on Spectrum and the Centaurus people that are operating and maintaining our server and the whole thing. It's like close to $5,000 between both of them. It's ridiculous. I don't know how they ever got into that, but
And it's in a month. Like-
yes, a month. It's
like-
like close to $5,000 a month for IT services. It's insane. So anyway, we're in a contract. It's like a 36-month contract, but we're gonna do some questioning and see if we can't reduce it. Not all of the services are on that contract that will last to 2026 or 2027. There's a few things that are not on that, so we have an option to maybe change some of it, so we're just putting a thing out there. Anyway. I'm making a recommendation that we keep that posting out there for 30 days, and then we'll discuss what kind of results we get after that. Is that agreeable to everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
It's also
All in
posted on
favor?
the public notices on our township website.
It's on the website, yes,
Perfect.
good. Township cleanup day is May 10th, that is, 7 AM to noon. You gotta be in line by noon, so don't show up at 12:01 and think you're gonna come sneaking in because it ain't gonna happen.
I just talked to, Creighton, he's gonna have, well, himself come be by the road for the traffic.
Oh, good, good. Very good. In the morning usually is where it's bad. It's not necessarily throughout the afternoon, but morning is bad. Okay,
Jim,
yes, ma'am.
didn't we need to make a motion regarding the Department of Treasury grant towards BSNA?
Yes, it's further down on the.
Oh, is it? Okay, sorry.
I had a good talk with.
And look at other.
Do you have a question, Jeff? Is that?
I did a while back, but, real quick, on TrueStream, do they have a permit to lay lines?
It's coming in right now.
Awesome.
And
That's one.
I did talk to John Rogers, and all of the utility companies that are currently boring have pulled permits.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Next one would be, you mentioned about running the ad. I was gonna add that we should immediately look for a groundskeeper / maintenance man. Put the ad out there, at that point. The sooner we can, the better. You don't wanna be caught.
We're coming into,
Pardon
we're coming into the season.
Yeah, and then last thing I was gonna say, when you made that motion for the resolution for the parking on Lake Street, one of the things, the simplest way to fix our wood trail and make a lot of people happy, one side parking, said it for 20 years, one side parking, post it. You guys have the power right now. You just made a resolution for safety for Lake Street. Post the non-lake side because of that swamp that's in there and all that. True safety issue. Now people that are living on Arwood Trail can walk with bicycle. There's a side open. All you gotta do is make that motion. And if you don't do it today, at least put it on your agenda for the 22nd meeting. Thank you.
I'm gonna get with John Rogers and find out the sign cost for posting that area. I think it's a good idea. I don't know why it hasn't been done before, honestly.
That'll fix it all year round. Done.
That's currently on Crystal Beach Road too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's already in our township.
Yeah.
It's a minuscule cost because we did the research in public safety at one time.
Okay, ARPA reconciliation, I had a good long talk with Tyler Waters, our CPA today, and he can't help me. But Jim Anderson, the former owner of his company, is well versed in it, and we're making contact, and I'll soon be reporting that our ARPA funds are all secured and accounted for. Hoping to do this soon. I probably at the 22nd meeting, we'll have the items that we're gonna use as our collateral or our use of the ARPA funds for. So I hope to have that all in a nice Excel spreadsheet. We can just approve it in one swoop, and then I can upload it to the site and be done with it. Okay, Rapid City Road Islands. Okay. We have our islands on the Rapid City Road here. We currently have like 3 groups. I'm gonna say 3, there might be more even, of different people that are doing work out there.
Which there are a bunch of ignoramuses and chat. But I'm not fond of them, so I'm glad you did. And you said
Somebody's on the phone or on the.
And more importantly, our greatest reason are children. And these are kids, he said, they'll never hold a job, they'll never pay taxes, meaning for.
Jim, just click on a picture of you.
I'm sorry?
You can click on her image, just you.
Yeah, there's no image there, but I got it figured out.
Her name.
Okay, back to the islands. I'm thinking that we as a board should decide what we want to do with that. Okay, I think it looks better when it's uniform, in my opinion. This is all my opinion stuff here. We mostly have volunteers doing that work, so I don't want to scare off our volunteers. We need everyone we can get.
And they volunteer not only their time, but they also volunteer flowers and such.
That is true.
So it's their time, it's their flowers.
That is true.
It's not just people going and keeping up with what's already there.
But what happens is we get a lot of inconsistencies. So what I'm suggesting is that we develop some kind of a plan of what we want our downtown to look like. Do we want random flowers here and then the next one is different and, you know, each one is different? Do we want to create pots? I mean, we could plant grass and just put pots. There's a lot of things there, but I think at some point we need to decide what it is that we want to accomplish out there because it's being done randomly now and it's not.
Well, if you go to the cart trail, there's all different companies and
Cart trail?
Kalkaska, the Kalkaska Trail in town by the Coliseum.
Okay.
There's all different people that donate their time, they donate their flowers, they all look
But
different.
this is our
along the
main
walking-
drag through town, is what I'm
path.
talking about. This isn't really a path, this is our sidewalk.
So having volunteers coordinate with one another, what flowers they're gonna.
That's what I'm
plant.
suggesting, what we do, either flowers or grass and, you know, maybe do grass in pots with flowers but I'm just suggesting that we have a plan. Dave, you've had your hand up, go ahead.
I've been thinking about this for 3 or 4 years. I have a solution that I think is workable. Couple things. I am requesting that I get some volunteer group to work with those volunteers. I don't want to shun them at all, because like Michelle says, we love every volunteer we can get. I propose that I get a volunteer group together. We go down there and edge everything, sidewalk edges. And then at the same time, that volunteer group, we dig out between the sidewalk and the road. We dig that down. It should come down to at least 3 inches below the curb and sidewalk. Because every year, Andrew's piling dirt back in. So this will last for a while. Okay, so we get that down there. That'll do a few things. That'll save the dirt and trash in the roads, which is terrible right now. I mean, it's winter coming, but that will save that. And number 2, when it rains with it edged, it'll clean off the sidewalk and it won't allow stuff, because as it is, it's all humped up. Dirt goes, if it rains hard, dirt's in the road. If it's down, that will help water the plants that are planted there. So digging that down is essential. Get at least 3 inches down, maybe 3.5. So I propose that I'm assigned to get some volunteers to work with those volunteers to get that edged and cleaned out before they start our work. Because that should be all cleaned up, and when they come out with their sweeper, it's a clean operation. And it'll look really nice when they get that work done. And then, again, work with Joanne and her group. And then second off, I feel this volunteer group that we get together, I propose that we start researching to get a downtown development association going. And not to get it going right away, but research it. There's a lot of money that's there that could be, we're perfect for what that TIP money does. We're perfect, we're right for it. So I suggest we start looking into that slowly. And I'm more than glad to look in that to present to you guys. And I think that will help us in the long run. And third, why that should be cleaned up. People are coming here, that's the first thing they see. It needs to be more uniform and with pots. Jim and I talked earlier about pots and different things. I've looked at them, grass in certain areas and pots. There's a whole program that we can look at. And again, I'd like to get this volunteer group together to clean that up before they pave, and then work with Joanne and her groups. And we all kind of bring a plan together, bring these guys.
If I could speak for a moment?
Yes,
Jim?
ma'am.
As one of those volunteers, my church group actually started the project from down by the Church of Christ. We did the first 2 blocks there. And we did dig out the soil, we added dairy dew, but I'll tell you, we have invested hundreds of dollars in annuals and perennials. So every one of those sections have perennials planted in them. You can't just go digging those out. You would have some volunteers that would be pretty angry if you started moving their flowers. I lost volume.
I'm sorry, he was saying, no intentions of removing flowers, just getting the dirt manageable so it's not flooding out all the time. Really is more or less what he's after. Very good. So, my suggestion was that we, decide what it is we want our downtown to look like. We don't have to do this today, but we certainly have to do something soon. This is spring and, we're gonna be.
If they let me get this volunteer group to get it in condition.
Well, that's good and, I appreciate all volunteers, okay? My concern is that the Juniper Garden Club and the people that are currently volunteering.
Juniper Garden Club is not involved in this call.
No, I thought they do.
I'm trying to get them, I'm involved with the Juniper Garden Club. I'm
Okay.
trying to get them involved.
Okay.
Because in 1975, they won a national award
Right.
for this. So I'm working on them to get involved with this, so we have some
Okay,
expertise.
I thought some of those volunteers were from the Juniper Garden Club.
No, absolutely.
Mhm.
I'm one of the few people in Rapid City that belong to the Juniper Garden Club. And that's my little baby down here.
Well, then as a board, do you want to install Dave and have him work with the volunteers and?
Well,
Get that up and
I want to speak to, the volunteers, so.
Yes, I do too.
I want to make sure that us as a board, that we recognize and deeply value the contributions of our volunteers who dedicate their time, their energy, their talents to support and improve our community. Volunteers are an essential part of our township success, and their service reflects a spirit of civic engagement that should be honored and encouraged. And yes, I'm reading it off paper. So I think they should all be treated with the highest level of respect, appreciation, professionalism, safe and supportive environment. They have a right to be inclusive, supported. And I'd also like to say that, they should be provided clear expectations regarding what their roles are and what we expect. So that's gonna fall on us as a township board and recognize their service. And I think of that, us as a board, we should commit that if we're going to reflect our township values, that we also respect all of the people that are willing to jump in and volunteer. They all have a vision of improving not only our downtown, but our values as a township. So I think it's very important that, whether it's Dave that leads it, I think that we should support those groups. We should respect those groups and give them direction, what we want. So going back to what you had suggested, I think we need a clear vision to let them know what direction they need to go in.
I agree 100% with her. What I still should suggest we do, working with them, we need to get the edging, sidewalk edge, and dig that dirt out. And then that way it's in a more workable condition. So it's more cleaner, especially when they repave. That'll be a clean situation down there. And everybody that comes through, they'll go, what happened here? Just with reducing that dirt and edging. That'll be a huge, huge improvement. And it wouldn't be hindering Michelle and any of the work they're doing. It'll enhance their work. And actually it'll help weed because we'll get all that extra dirt out of there. So they'll have more concentration on the perennials and everything that's planted there. So it'll actually help them maintain. And that's one of the things they have a terrible time maintaining it. And
It's a
so,
lot of traffic in this one.
I understand, but that way, reducing that down will help the maintenance of that. So I'm just, and I just think it'd just be a huge improvement, and the community would go, oh my goodness, what happened? That's all I'm saying, and working with them, 100% working. They need to be included in, like you said, whatever decision you guys and we have as a group, as a township. But I still feel that should be dirt out there and edge. Immediately,
I
soon.
think it's gonna lie on us as a board to decide what that vision is and what we want in the downtown and give them direction and, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
volunteering their time.
Absolutely, that should be regulated, and what do we want? That's 100%.
Yeah, we don't have time tonight to decide exactly what it is that we want. I don't wanna keep putting this off. This is, you know, it's spring. If we're gonna do it, we gotta do it soon, so. Maybe we can talk about this, and I'd kinda like to, you know, these group of volunteers, is there like somebody you can contact with them all, or do they just show up and?
I will contact them, I will get the people to do that. Again, those volunteers, they're not capable of edging and dirty that dirt out. They're not capable of doing those services. So that, whatever goes on down the road, that should be done immediately, in my opinion. And then get a workable plan. See, that's all I'm saying. Let's do that and then get a plan together. I think that's the way we ought to approach it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, to put this to rest now, I'm gonna suggest maybe that you and I can do a little walkthrough or something and try to get in touch with these volunteers.
Yes.
Come up with a basic plan, and then we can refine it as we go.
That's perfect.
Okay, IRS payroll tax. Remember I told you about the non-payment of all the payroll taxes for 2021? Part of the discussion I had with Tyler today, he's aware of it. And he's going to reply to the IRS. He says generally it's like 6 months. You contact the IRS, 6 months later they get back. So then you answer, and it's like 6 months in between each time, he says, but eventually he's requesting a factual number of what we actually will owe. Because there was one altercation with the 2023 order that was applied to a wrong one. But anyway, Tyler is on it. He's working with the IRS, so we're gonna have to just wait on that one. New business. We had a decent discussion with some people from the Michigan State Treasury. They joined us in a webinar, and we talked for an hour and a half probably about some of the issues of our finances and different things like that. They offered to help us fund portions of the BS&A software that we just recently approved. They are making arrangements to have potentially a bookkeeping service, something on the order of Plant Moran or something like that, come in and kind of clean our books up for us a little bit and show us, scrub our budget.
Set
Yes.
up financial policies.
Yes, so we're working on it. It's gonna be probably months as we, get into it. Same individuals, one that suggested a couple of different municipal attorneys may help us out. So just so the public knows, we're involved with and we're working with some of the state treasury people to try to clean up our mess that we have, and it's hopefully gonna happen soon.
And those monies they're not like considered grant monies, but they're monies that we are not required to pay them back, which was really nice. So even the part that we've already put down on BS&A, we can provide them with our receipts and they will reimburse us that money back, which is really nice. As well as having, and not necessarily Plant Moran But kind of that is, you know, we would get the fund who would come in and do it, but they can go through and start our budget. They can go and set up financial policies so that we can clean it up. So moving forward, a lot of the issues as a new board coming in that we're trying to figure out what happened in the past, you know, we'll have that help and the state will reimburse us for those. And they currently have the funds. So it's something that we want to actively participate because when they run out of funds, there's no more money to help.
I'm gonna have to excuse me.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna lose Mr. Underhill here. We actually only have one item left on our thing in 22nd. Okay, item B there under new business, the board meeting rules, guidelines and policies. Just so everybody is aware, I'm talking to everybody on the board, we all got the suggested policy booklet there, yep.
Yeah.
Let's look that over. I would like to see that compiled into one thing rather than like a different section, so. You know, if we could do that, I think it would save us a lot of time on the 22nd. See about.
Good night, thank you.
So, again, we can move item B out to the April 22nd meeting.
Okay.
Continue that discussion during. It's no secret, we got lots of policies and guidelines to work on, so. Any requested budget amendments, Christine?
I haven't really looked at it, but I do know we need to amend your salary in the budget and add Andrew. But those are the only two that I can think of right now.
Okay. Certainly, we can wait on both of those for the evening anyway. Is that something that we should, and I'll be honest with you, it's just a motion and we approve it. There's no documentation or anything like that. We do that right in the budget as we go, correct?
We would create a line in our budget for amendments, and then any amendments that are made would go in there with the date that they're made. But it doesn't need to be done monthly, it can be done quarterly.
Yeah, those adjustments that we just discussed are not really that big or consequential, so I think we can at the very least not worry about that this evening, but maybe do it, like you say, on a quarterly basis. Any closing, well, we have no desire for a closed session this evening. Anybody know? Closing board member comments, I'm gonna make one. That is that I'm going to draft and publish a notice seeking a maintenance individual, or should we hold off on that?
We should probably go ahead and at least.
I'll go ahead and draft it, we'll have it ready and we'll see, talk to Craig.
Okay, and then I just had one other thing, so I wanted to kind of go back to Parks and Rec because they do have projects on here. So they're paying, you know, for the remainder of the playground equipment, and if they want the fertilizer, that they're gonna be paying that, but we're kind of against it because of the chemicals. But I did wanna say that moving forward, if there's things that aren't in their budget that needs to be repaired, that are like safety issues with Freedom Park, or some of the other parks that just aren't all about like Freedom Park or Heritage Park, you know, that they should probably bring those to us, kind of like other people have come in, you know, with, proposals, you know, so, I just wanted to say, because I see on here they have like, repairs to a play structure at Freedom Park, you know, so is it a safety issue? You know, those kind of things. So I don't want to sound like I'm a bear when it comes to, Parks and Rec, because I'm all about doing things for the kids.
Mhm.
I just, that's a lot of money at the other end of town, so that was all I had for additional.
I have one additional board comment, and this is from my notes from the day that we talked to the state people. They asked us to get in our minutes that we authorize the state to help us.
Yes,
They asked us to put that in our minutes, so I'll make a motion that we continue to work with the state treasury people, help us with our budget and finances.
and I second that.
Okay. We still have 3 people, so we still have a quorum. Okay, Jim, yes.
Michelle, yes.
Michelle, yes. And Dave?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, this is state help, okay. All right, with that, if there's no other board comments, any public comment before we close up? Yes, Dave?
I'd just like to thank you guys again for your hard work to straighten up this mess you inherited. I mean, if it wasn't for your guys' hard work, this township would be in shambles. Just shambles. So thank you all for all the hard work you've been dedicating, and we are going to be dedicated.
We have a long way to go.
I know that, but you've come a long ways, by gosh. We've been rough shape. If we had the old board here, it'd be bad.
I wish Tom would have stayed a little longer. I've told a few people here, I literally, when Tom turned this township over to me, he gave me 3 manila folders like this, and it was less than a half an inch for the whole thing. I mean, I have nothing from Tom Backers. So if you're listening, Tom,
He didn't like it, have anything, Jim?
I feel bad for them about their TV, but
It's worth $20.
yeah, they're $15 on eBay all day long. Same TV.
Yeah. Andrew buy one.
They've been
Yeah,
pretty on the
I'm
side
able
of
to
the
buy a
road.
couple of them for you. Anyway, I don't wanna start problems, but anyway, any other closing public comment? Yes.
Just a couple things. I did hear you talk about the level, 250,000 for the FDIC insurance, that you're aware of that. I did also notice that your Huntington total is over that.
A little bit.
Well, we moved it over to Michigan class.
And how often does that happen? Do you know?
We just did that probably about 2 weeks ago, where we moved money over to Michigan class, so it may not be reflected on the recent budget, because that's, from March.
Sure. The other thing, when you, just something to think about when you're doing your, discussions with the banks or, credit unions or wherever you're gonna go look, be sure to ask them about the fee structures as well, get them compared. A lot of times their sales pitch doesn't necessarily give you the apples to apples comparison on what your fees are when you're looking for something that's very electronically based. So make sure that you have a chance to do that. And then I want to echo the thank yous that already been out, but specifically to the training that you have been open to do at every single one of you sitting here. As mentioned at one point in time or another at a meeting, I know that takes time. I know it takes an effort to take what you learn and bring it back and implement. And I hope that you continue to do that. Training isn't just a one-off, it's something that's gonna be ongoing. And I hope that you put a priority on that when you consider your budgets in the future. I know you're elected officials, and it's the group in the township that puts people in those seats. So there, there's plenty of blame to go all the way around. And we've all seen what not getting trained in your job can do. And I applaud you for grabbing the bull by the horns and figuring out how to go. It's kind of like when I was in audit, and they'd hand you your shoebox. And and walk away, like, oh, Jesus. But those past mistakes are, opportunities cost to these taxpayers. You're having to spend money to dig out. And that money could have been spent in some really cool services or doing some other things. And people need to begin to understand that. And in your shoes, I wouldn't hesitate to share those kinds of things with people. You know, yeah, we're making inroads, we're making changes, we're doing all these things. And it's really unfortunate because those tax dollars could have been gone to something else. So good for you guys. Yay.
Thank you very much. One quick thing, I mentioned about the 3 manila folders. I did also have access to all the emails. So it's not just the manila folders that I got. I do have email access, so I spent a lot of time searching through emails to find information, so. All right, if there's no other closing public comment, I think we can adjourn.
I just wanted to bring up, you having to have the task of the LED sign that was installed here in town. It's old. I mean, it sat in the garage here for over a year, went out of warranty, the 3 years.
I think it was 3 years.
It's 2 colors. It's really not very user friendly for what it needs. But we can utilize it elsewhere. I came up with the idea for the fire department. They need a new sign, they're tired of going out there and putting letters on it. They're willing, I talked to Derek, they're willing to take the cost, whatever it is, to move it over there and have the power installed to it. They're willing to take it. So I just, like, you know, you guys' decision on if you wanna let them do that, but I think further down the road, maybe not now, but get a better sign.
That's a good
At a
idea.
different location.
Yeah. On that line, I'm very good friends with Daktronics, the largest sign company in the world. He is gonna do some things that he would give us a price on something really nice. That would be easy for him to operate, and it'd be really neat. You tone it down and do whatever you want. I'll contact him next time he's up. I'll have him get together and we can go there, but he'll give you some suggestions. We may be able to get somebody to donate to buy it too.
All right, well, in the last moments here before the 10 o'clock hour, I would make a quick motion that we allow the fire department to utilize the old LED sign and switch it over at their expense.
Sure.
Does anybody else want to second that?
Second that.
All right. Jim? Yes.
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
And Dave?
Yes.
Okay. That motion will pass. So we'll notify Derek that he can get working on that.
All right.
All right, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
So don't.
Wait, hold on for just one quick second. Anybody online need to make any public comment? All right,
Take care.
Have a good night.
y'all have a good evening.